This week is being touted as an up market for the entire stock market, even though it ended on a sour note. But truth be known, the market is actually trending sideways. There's still a lot of uncertainty out there. And of course, today's downward move had a lot to do with the debt ceiling negotiations and whatnot. We'll get into all that. We'll be talking about the macro first, and then I want to talk to you about something that I sense happening with Tesla that I think you're going to want to know about. So if you like this kind of content on Friday night, we always try to do Tesla news from the previous week, as well as the financial news from the previous week, so that we kind of get a handle on where things are going into the weekend. And then, tomorrow morning we'll have a very special show. I'll talk to you more about that at the end as well. So if you like this, like it, hit notify if you would like to be notified of tomorrow morning's show or Brian Wang on Sunday morning. And many, many great shows coming up in the next few days. And then, of course, always looking for a few more folks like you who could afford $5 a month to join my Patreon. Thank you for all of you that are currently following me on Patreon and contributing and helping to support the show. Anyway, let's move into the details here. So Powell on Friday said that interest rates may not have to rise as much as expected in order to curb inflation. So that would be a very dovish statement coming from the chair. It's dovish, but it does leave room for another hike. He says interest rates may not have to rise as high as expected. So not 100% no clarity as usual. The stock market is not probably going to respond to that as much as they're looking right now at this whole credit problem with Congress and the president still fighting it out. So yes, it was good. It was better than you would like it to have. And it's dovish. And yes, that's good. So other comments from various presidents of the Fed on the other side really continue to downplay the idea of any possible lessening of interest rates later this year. So on the one hand, we've got maybe a pause, maybe a beginning of an understanding that maybe we've gone far enough with these interest rate increases, but still a lot of uncertainty. The President of the United States and Congress are continuing to duke it out on raising the credit ceiling. The pundits today were saying that this was the reason why the stock market was down today, is because of that uncertainty. Of course, the market hates uncertainty, and they might be right. But I'm not 100% sure that it couldn't have just been profit taking at the end of the week, just looking for an excuse to take some profits after a decent week the first 4 days. Now, during the week, we had plenty of things from retail, because a lot of retail reporting this week, and a lot of it was positive, a lot of it was negative. So you had Home Depot that was down. That's not good when you consider they're going into their main season. You had Giant Foot Locker coming out today. Shoe Giant Foot Locker coming out today and saying that they weren't giving very good guidance. Target, Walmart, decent reporting there. So you had, again, mixed. A little hard to really be able to get much out of any of that, except that the economy is not falling apart. We can say that for sure. The economy is not falling apart, but it is not robust either. We did see a lot of information from the home section suggesting that permits were up, new construction was up, and prices are up. So the home side right now seems to be in a little bit of a rebound. Oil, on the other hand, continues to be at the lower end of the range. Since we're in May, at a time when you might expect oil to be going up pre-summer season, suggests that maybe the folks that follow oil are not thinking there's going to be a lot of summer vacations by car this year, at least in the US. So hard to know where that's going. Maybe everybody's going to be getting on a jet plane. All right, so bond yields were up sharply yesterday and today. So is money leaving bonds? Is it going back to banks? Well, the regional banks did okay in the middle of the week after doing poorly at the beginning of the week, and then didn't do so great today. So again, uncertainty, no clarity with regard to whether the regional banks are out of danger, whether we're going to continue to see that be a drag. But obviously, Powell saying today we might be done with raising rates is going to be very good for the regional banks. Okay, so then, so everything today was down except Tesla. Tesla had a fantastic week, okay? And obviously there was a lot of news, huge amount of news. We're talking about last Thursday, I think it was last Thursday with the introduction of the new CEO for Twitter. That was great news for Tesla. We have the expansion talks at Shanghai, where there's apparently permitting being done to expand Shanghai in a serious way. We have negotiations in apparently going to new levels with a possible giga in India. That's good news. We have Elon saying that he's not going anywhere. He's looking strong and fit and ready to go, and gonna really put a lot of attention to AI at Tesla. That had to be good news. Advertising is a possibility. Comes out at the shareholder meeting and says, okay, maybe we'll try some advertising. I think institutional investors are going to love that. And I'm holding out for Jay Leno as spokesperson. I think it is just so obvious. I don't know. There doesn't really need to be any more discussion. I'm right on this. What do you think? Put it in the comments below. Now, there's also a clear path to 2 million cars. I don't think there's any, I've been saying for a long time, I think it'll be 2.2, but I believe that the street's beginning to believe it. Prices are going up, not down. That's got to be good for the market. Cybertruck is on track, according to Elon at the meeting, even though Elon gave muted thoughts with regard to quantities, talking about 250 to 500,000. I think that is lowballing, but hey, we don't know until we see what happens later this year when they start to hit the roads. All right, and then of course, Optimus was center stage at the entire shareholders meeting. They were amazing. It's a very important part of what's going on. We will be talking way more about Optimus in the weeks ahead, because this is where the real money is going to be, okay? Oh, what, you already thought that the sexy cars potentially earning the most amount of money that any company in history has ever earned just from the cars themselves, and throw in Cybertruck, and maybe you throw in Semi, then it becomes double the biggest company. I got to tell you something. You can add all of them together, according to Elon. This is not Randy. Elon said, add it all together, everything that we're doing, and then the robots will be more. I believe him, and as a result of that, I think that's part of what's going on with what I want to talk to you about. So all of this good news would normally be enough to drive the stock higher. I don't think that's what's driving the stock higher. I think what's driving the stock higher is that there's a beginning of a narrative shift. The last thing you want to have, the last piece of reputation you want to have, the last thing you want overhanging you in a risk-off market is to be seen as risky, or have lots of uncertainties around you. When the market is already nervous, they're already saying we don't want to put money out there that we see as risky, and then your company is seen as risky, yeah, you're going to be flatlining. You're going to be down. You're not going to be anybody's favorite in that environment. And I've been saying that Tesla has been trading way more like the risky growth companies, the ARK Invest type of companies, the startups, and the ones that are maybe not profitable yet or barely making profits, but their growth potential is huge, but they're risky because they really haven't busted out yet, the way that Tesla would have traded 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. But they went back into that category because of all of the uncertainty around all these aspects of Tesla over the last 6 months. Well, when those uncertainties start to clear, then all of a sudden an investor can start looking at the fundamentals in terms of the sales increasing, in terms of the profits increasing, in terms of the cash in the bank, in terms of not having any, not owing any money in terms of loans. When you look at that, then all of a sudden the Tesla looks like a huge buy. Massive upside potential, almost no risk truly with the company if Elon's staying and if Twitter's kind of in the background and all these other things are happening. And then you add robots on top. I'm going to talk a lot more about this tomorrow, But I just want to say that when the narrative shifts and you begin to see the stock rising against either doing better than the market on any given day, but then even going up today, significantly up today in a very down market, then there's an indication that the narrative has shifted, that the investors are thinking differently about Tesla right now. And then what's going to happen is that will have its own momentum. The fact that it's going up will create people to look at it and say, oh, it's going up. I don't want to miss the opportunity of a lifetime, the stock of our generation, maybe the stock of all time. I don't want to miss this run. It may be time to get back into Tesla with almost no downside risk and massive upside potential. So I'm thinking we might move into the 200s again over the next couple of weeks. If that happens, especially if we break out at 214, 215, we could be, as I've been saying all along, on our way to 300 by the end of the third quarter. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, but tomorrow morning, you don't want to miss the show. So subscribe, hit notifications, because you want to be reminded to watch the show tomorrow morning. I'm going to dig deeper into this whole narrative issue, and you're not going to want to miss that show. So, and also, if this is helpful, and I remember, I'm not a stock advisor. This is for your entertainment only. But if it's helpful, if it just gives you a chance to do your own homework in a deeper and more thoughtful way, then you might want to throw $5 a month at me over on Patreon just to help support the show. You'd be a producer, you know that, don't you? $5 a month, you could become a producer. And I really do want to thank. I think we're up somewhere around 50 Patreon members right now, so that's decent. I thank every one of you for participating. So that's it for today, and thank you so much, and it's been great talking to you.